Okay, so Al and I just got out here, put the boat in the water, and this lake is not mapped with the Lake Master chip. So what we're gonna do is build our own map as we fish over the next couple days. So you go in here, hit menu, and then we go over here, HB chart, go down auto chart, turn on auto chart, and boom. Next thing you know, it starts building a map of the lake. Ooh.
Same thing.
Look at that. Doozy.
A little bit better there. Huh?
Nice.
Not bad, Dan. What do you think of that?
I think that's great.
Huh?
That's great.
I changed colors on the top. Did you see my change of colors?
Yeah, that'll work.
I was catching too many pike on the other one. Hey, that's a nice fish. Good fish, actually. Spot lock and work this point over good.
Spot lock.
All right. No, Dan. They're chunky little fish. They got some weight on them, Dan.
Yeah, they do.
They're looking,
shoulders.
They're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty darn good.
Ooh, wow.
How's that baby look to you?
No kidding.
Let me get the player. She swung and a miss here. Okay, we're in the money now. How's that one look? Huh? Nice fish. Good fish for a start fish. You know, we're in one of my favorite places in all of Sunset Country, Ontario. It's the Atikokan region. Over the years, we shot a lot of shows here in this part of Canada. There's so many lakes here that are loaded with smallmouth. It's a smallmouth fisherman's mecca.
Closed captioning is provided by Smooth Moves, adjustable boat seat suspensions for a smoother ride.
How big is Perch Lake itself?
I believe it's about 700 hectares, and there's numerous lakes in the chain. The length from here to Atikokan, you have about 31 miles of fishable water. Of course, you have perch, there's walleye, smallmouth, northern, there's crappie, whitefish, and you guys even catch tullabees in the winter. Yeah, well, Perch Lake is located like an hour and 15 minutes from the border, so very easy to get to. It's not a long drive. You know, it's easy to get into our lodge. It's only 1.5 miles off the highway, yet it could be in the middle of nowhere because of the, you know, tranquil atmosphere. It's very peaceful around here. Coming here, it's like we're almost isolated. What we offer here, we have cabins, fully equipped. The only thing you need to do is bring your own towel, and everything else is here for you.
Got him.
Whoa, got it. Toad.
Toadsy. Another jumping. Ooh, look at that baby go.
Oh
they
gosh.
like to jump, Dan.
That's a big one.
They're in a jumping mode, that's for sure. Whoa. Now she's over here, right here. Oh boy,
Wow.
that's a Donkey Kong. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we might be getting on something here.
Yeah.
Little too early to tell, but boy, she's a big one again. Holy mackerel. You know, I didn't know what to expect when we came up here. Yeah, you know, I heard good stories, really good stories, looked at the pictures of the big smallmouth here. But until you actually get here and get on the water.
I got a big bass out here.
You got to pull this hook out of my finger, Dan.
Whoa, look at that. Look at that dude. Al got that fish out off of this point, and I just came back through with a little sensation worm on a jig head, and that's that little sensation worm. Beautiful bass. Boy, they are thick, 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 man. Holy cow. Beautiful bass. We'll get her back in the water. That last fish I caught was on a VMC Ned jig, and it was, I had it tipped with a big bite bait Somali worm, and these worms are scent infused. So anytime you gotta put a bait on the bottom and let it soak and sit there for a while to get those extra bites, this stuff works like a charm, and those smallmouth love this thing.
You know, we're starting to make a pattern on how to catch some of the bigger fish here. Usually takes you half a day on a lake you've never been on. Up here, try to figure out, you know, are they shallow water on the main lake? Are they related to weed? Ooh, like that one. Another good one. Another good one,
Right
Dan.
out. Oh.
We just came off of a double. I just dumped that one on the all-time favorite X-Rap, which is one of the baits. You come up in this part of the world, you never come up here without an X-Rap on, along with a handful of other baits that are, you know, known. There's another one. Known fish producers.
Oh.
I mean, whoa, boy, they are going
Jeepers.
nuts. Holy smokes.
I gotta put a swim bait on.
Man. Well, I'm landing this one. You see this? I was hooked with an X-Rap. I just had to patch up my finger. Oh, Danner, this one is not a monster. But there's like 3 and 3 casts in there. This lake is proven to be everything we heard it to be.
I've been coming up the Perch Lake Lodge for almost 20 years now. It's a fantastic place to come. I keep coming back. Catch tons of fish all the time. I've had days where I've caught 100 smallmouth in one day, but 50, 60, 70 fish a day is pretty typical and normal when you're coming up here. A lot of nice walleyes. It's a fantastic place. You can bring your wife with you. It's clean. Dave and Jen are super people. They do a great job. There's lots of different stuff to do. You could do different day lakes around here. There's a lake close by. You could go fish lake trout for a day if you want. There's other lakes close to town. You could go for a day. I mean, there's lots of different things. If you have a bigger boat, there's lakes that have nice launches in them. You can get a bigger boat in these launches real easy like.
The top.
Yeah, finally I got one on the tippity top. Took me a while, but.
This segment is brought to you by Big Bite Baits, designed to bring the big bite to your line.
Yes, Al, tip top. Boy, like I said, man, these fish are just tougher than nails. And up in this Atikokan region, they love a topwater bait, and that's a good thing, because a lot of guys love fishing for smallmouth bass on topwater baits. And that's just one of the baits that work up here. Let's break down horizontally and vertically some of the best baits to fish for smallmouth in this region. There we go.
When it comes to the majority of shield lakes up in Canada, you have to know they can be very rocky. So that means dragging jigs around on the bottom can cost you a pretty penny in baits. From our experience, horizontal moving lures are a good, safe bet. You can move pretty quickly, fish often show themselves, and you rarely hang up on the bottom. From the surface down, we prefer the Rapala skitter prop in most situations, but all of Rapala's topwater lures have a certain time and place when they are the most effective. Next, never forget the Rapala X-Wraps. This suspending slash bait produces fish spring, summer, and fall. We prefer loud colors for smallmouth. A swim bait of some sort is a must-have. We like the VMC hybrid swim bait jig rigged with a big bite hybrid swimmer. You can fish this from the shoreline to mid-depths all the way out off the break. Simply adjust your retrieve speed. Fourth would be a Terminator stainless steel spinnerbait. This allows you to fish in and around any soft or hard cover with ease. Fifth is the Silent Killer. a VMC marabou jig. We have been using this elegant little jig for years to catch giant bass. You simply cast it out and reel it in nice and steady. The less you do, the better it works. It's that simple. Now, if you have to fish vertical, there are 3 go-to presentations. First off is the VMC spin shot with a tungsten weight. This allows you to stay as vertical as possible and keep bait right in the strike zone. We love to fish a big bite smallie smasher on this setup. Up next is the VMC Neon Moon Eye jig, rigged up with a soft plastic like a big bite sensation slim minnow held right over the side of the boat. We call this moping. Simply drop the jig halfway down where you mark fish and just let it hover, and smallies will come up and smash it. This is a crazy effective presentation we pioneered years ago. We have done this in depths from 10 to 40 feet of water. Now, we cannot forget a tube. Like we said, many of these environments are very rocky, so if you have to fish with a tube on the bottom, we prefer a VMC tube jig, rigged internally on a 2.5-inch big bite salt tube. Finally is a VMC Ned rig jig and a soft plastic profile like a big bite trick stick. This is a no-brainer presentation. You throw it out there and just let it sit on the bottom. Fish will just pick it up and swim away.
Now, you may say, well, Dan, that's a heck of a lot of different lures, and it is. And the reason you have to have so many different styles and types of baits when you come up here is because at any given time they can be on something really hard. You know what I mean? You can get into a position where they're just on topwater baits and they won't hit anything else. So you have to have a lot of different baits, and you constantly are mixing stuff up, trying different things, and eventually over the course of a few days you'll whittle it down to 1 rod or 1 bait or 2 baits, and that's all you really need.
You know, this area is just so special.
So that was on a number 8 Shad Rap.
Your style of boat control is really key.
One that was there from the very beginning.
You want to be able to see in the water. The adventure begins.
We are loaded for bear. We got
You know,
bites.
there's so many different ways to fish for walleye. Dependability and efficiency.
Simple, fast, and easy.
The best rods on the planet. Truly, truly amazed at the quality of the fish in this lake. Truly. You know, this area is just so special.
Holy cow.
So, so special. Man.
Do you got your Bubba players?
Yeah. You know, we've been bombing rocks, we've been bombing broken rock, we've been bombing weed beds. And this weed bed we're in now, this baby's got some old marks on old battle worn. You know, just a phenomenal trip. I am so glad we came up here to do this. And we're just learning the water a little bit. There's a big bunch of these fish. This particular system we're on, I'm a little bit surprised at how heavy the weed beds are. You know, they're really dense, big, massive weed beds. You know, and they said that this doesn't normally get this weedy, but you got a real low water year, and they get in these massive beds, and you just cover water. You just cover water, but it pays off big time.
You know, a lot of people in my neck of the woods think about smallmouth and they associate them with rocks and wood and current in rivers and stuff like that. And from Al and my experience and my brothers and my dad fishing all these tournaments up in Canada, we experienced some of the finest weed fishing for smallmouth that we've ever seen. I mean, you get into bays, so look down to that point. This is all weeds. This is all weeds, 7 to 9 foot of water, and these fish are in this stuff, and it's amazing how much smallmouth use weeds and different types of weeds. It's really interesting. One thing that's really important whenever you're fishing shallow cover like this is good optics. You want to have a good pair of sunglasses, and these wavy label sunglasses have tremendous polarization, and it's like fishing. It's night and day when you put them on versus you take them off, and you see all of these little nooks and crannies where these fish can be hiding, and it makes a big difference whenever you're shallow water fishing. As you can see, look at this whole break, and all of this stuff is all mapped out for us if we ever come back here in the future. And a lot of times when we're driving across, you'll find secret little spots out in the middle that you didn't even know were there, not on the paper map. Those are hidden little gems. What is that?
Yeah, what is that? Oh.
It looks like a smallie.
Oh, that's...
It is a smallie.
Get in there, he'd missed it. They got it that time.
Big smallie,
yeah,
too.
It's a big one. Oh, this guy's got a little bit of...
Got some shoulders?
Yeah, he does got some shoulders. He was in there just smashing stuff around. I don't know what he was, whoa.
They like to eat when you're throwing the right thing.
You don't have all bluebird flat calm days.
Just a perfect eating size fish.
See, that's what I'm talking about, these Daiwa drag.
We got walleye stuff, we got crappie stuff, we got pike stuff.
This boat is rigged up about as nice.
Easy to use, and it flat out works.
It's a must-have when you're talking about big waves. Well, these trout are so darn tough.
Incredible 11-year warranty.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that? Oh.
It looks like a smallie.
Oh, that's...
It is a smallie.
Get in there, he'd missed it. They got it that time.
Big smallie,
yeah,
too.
It's a big one. Oh, this guy's got a little bit of...
Got some shoulders?
Yeah, he does got some shoulders. He was in there just smashing stuff around. I don't know what he was, whoa, this guy. Holy cow, that's what I was talking about, man. These fish love weeds. And sometimes you can't beat it. Oh, wow, look at that. Holy cow. That is so much fun, man. That is like topwater fishing for smallmouth in the weeds. It is like heart-stopping. You see these fish busting around chasing stuff up there, you throw it on top of them and they come at it like an MX missile. It's crazy. You know, everybody knows that fish like smallmouth bass like edges. And when you're fishing these giant weed flats like that, there's no real distinct weed edge. I mean, there's clumps of weeds everywhere, but there is one common edge, and that's the surface. A lot of people don't think about that. Fish are looking up. There's something flat up there. That's an edge. And this bait creeping across the top, fish just love that and know that they can pin that fish to that top edge. So edges aren't always just weed lines and rocks and stuff like that. The surface of the water is an edge that you always have to keep in mind.
My favorite rod for top watering is St. Croix Mojo Bass. Medium power, fast action. And I got a Tatula reel on, bread and butter Tatula, 7.3 gear ratio, and a 14-pound test, a Suffix monofilament. Nice and simple, but dependable for this kind of fishing.
You know, from our experience with all topwater fishing, whether using a skidder prop like this, the X-Wrap Pop, the BX wake bait, we always use mono for these applications. And the reason is real simple, it floats. It stays up on the water and keeps that bait up versus a fluorocarbon. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you see that?
Came out of nowhere.
Well, he didn't come out of nowhere. He was like out on the edge of that. Oh, look at him. Wait, they really get up. They really get after it, don't they?
There he is. Another one.
What a blast, man. Al and I are just kicking butt on topwater and crankbaits and jerkbaits and some plastics. Hey, if you want to catch some big bass and a lot of bass, give these guys at Perch Lake Lodge a call, man. They'll set you up big time. There you go, baby.
You know, Dan and I get to travel a lot. We spend a lot of time together in the editing suites. We're talking about business, talking about shows, talking about life in general, and a lot of different subject matter. And he shared something with me a while back that really blessed me. I said, that would make a good close. Take it.
So we were raised by my dad, you guys, to never be embarrassed of your faith, never ever deny your faith, and never have, you know. And I've always instilled that into my kids. And I tell you that to tell you this. Earlier in the year, my son, who's at an impressionable age, 10 years old, this is when you pull into the school and you honk the horn and he gets embarrassed and dives in the back, which I believe is a rite of passage because my dad did it to me. So they get embarrassed of things. So anyways, he's at a hockey tournament. It's the last game, big championship game, and the coaches ask, does anybody want to say anything? And Jack raises his hand. He says, I'd like to have a team prayer prior to the game. And they prayed, and I got a call back from both the coaches after that game, and they were both emotionally shook. They were like almost in tears of how proud they were of, excuse me, my son standing on his faith in front of all of his friends. So it just touched me.
I know. I love it.
Very, very proud of him.
I am proud of him. I'm glad you shared that with me. And, you know, I really believe the world we're living in today is a mess. And it all goes back to when we pulled prayer out of the schools for the young people. That's when the problems started. That's the problems that we're facing today. In there, you can't pray in here. Pull the 10 Commandments off of here. Any moral code is gone. It's gone. They're trying to kick God out of everything. And the only hope for this world and its future is more seed hearing the Word of God like that at a young age, the impressionable age. And that's what's going to change this world. Nothing else. Prayer and God. God's grace and mercy. I get emotional too. Hey, from all of us here at The Edge, you have a great fishing season. We'll see you on the water.